Ridicule is man's most potent weapon. There's no defense. It is almost impossible to counterattack ridicule. It also infuriates the opposition, who then react to your advantage. Keep the pressure on. The threat of ridicule is usually more terrifying than the ridicule itself. Now, those are not my words. I pulled those verses straight out of the woke Bible, which is Rules for Radicals by Saul Alinsky. The book was released in 1971, years before most of us were born. But just because it's old, it doesn't mean it's no longer relevant. If you read the book, you will notice that the tactics laid out by Saul Alinsky are the blueprint woke shitfucks are using today. Rules for Radicals. It is required learning at Woke U. This book is the basis for sermons preached every Sunday at Woke United Methodist. The rule I just shared with you is rule number 5. This rule has been weaponized on social media and throughout the mainstream media. They are ridiculing people into silence. They are threatening people into silence. Why? Why do you think that's the case? If you have a silent population, you can get away with anything. If people are afraid to speak up, Will Thomas can exchange his Speedo for a bikini and compete in women's swimming. A 20-something male basketball player can identify as a 14-year-old girl, stuff some socks into his shirt, and compete against little girls in AAU basketball. Did you guys see that shit yesterday? If you missed it, watch it for yourself.
I'm about to literally make history. Time to go for 30. Oh my God, Cuddy.
Dynasty on 3, 1, 2, 3.
Dynasty! Don't break my nail.
I got it!
Yeah, raise the roof!
I take it!
She's little! She's little! Oh. You're not doing that again. Good pass. Yeah, we outside. Shout out home team hoops.
Next time you hang on the rim, it's technical. I'm not warning you no more.
Okay, I'll hang on the rim. I'm gonna hang on the rim, guys.
There's debate on social media as to whether or not this was a real AAU game. Now, it's obvious to me this is a spoof, but just the fact that we have to debate the authenticity of it shows how far we have fallen as a society. 10, 15 years ago, this would have been a funny, satirical video. In 2022, we are debating whether or not AAU allowed a swinging dick to compete against little girls. Woke shitfucks have threatened and ridiculed people into silence. I cannot tell you how many times people have reached out and told me, "Thank you for doing what you're doing. You say what the rest of us are thinking." The environment's been created where if you don't believe in the woke faith, if you haven't been baptized and born again, you have no place in media. If you don't submit your ass to Fauci fucking and allow them to inject the Fauci sauce into your body, they treat you like you have fucking leprosy. Normal people are afraid to be vocal in fear of losing their jobs or being ostracized by friends and family. Celebrities, professional athletes, they're afraid to be vocal over the same fears. Mike Tyson has built a large following here on YouTube. His personal YouTube channel has over 2 million subscribers. The channel dedicated to his podcast has over 500,000. His show has over 40 million views in 18 months. You would have to combine the audience of Talkin' Booty with Tutti Frutti, hosted by Don Lemon. You would have to combine his nightly audience for 2 years, and you probably still wouldn't reach 40 million people. The other night, Mike Tyson was on NewsMax. He was a guest with Greta Van Susteren. And this was news to me for a couple of reasons. One, I didn't know Greta Van Susteren was still working in the media. Two, if Mike Tyson was going to give an interview, why the fuck would he choose NewsMax? Now, I have nothing against NewsMax. I like it. I'll watch it from time to time. But I mean, it's an incredibly small platform when compared to the rest of the cable news media. But KC, NewsMax was beating CNN in primetime back in June. Yeah, they sure were. Who fucking cares? Every network beats CNN in primetime. You could air footage of mechanics fixing the gas-powered motor on AOC's climate-friendly broom, and it would beat Don and Shay Shay promote the gay on CNN. When I watched this interview with Mike Tyson, I was quickly reminded why Greta Van Susteren is no longer in the mainstream. I have nothing against her personally, but this interview, it was just, I don't know, it was incredibly awkward. I don't know if it was her line of questioning or if Mike Tyson was just difficult to interview. Either way, there was just one interesting soundbite. The interview shifted from mundane, unimportant topics to politics. Watch this exchange. Pay close attention to Mike Tyson's explanation as to why he prefers to keep his beliefs to himself. Roll the film.
If I start talking politics, my friends are not going to like me. Hey, let's just not do that, okay? Let's just not do
come on.
that.
All right, tell me.
My family get mad. My friends get mad when we talk politics.
All right, well, just give me a little bit of tease. Do you go to the far right of the spectrum or the far left of the spectrum in politics? Are you conservative or liberal?
Now listen, when I was younger, I was all-out liberal. But as I get older and I look at my children and I see what's out in the world, I get a little conservative. You know, it's common sense. Looking at the world at the stage it's in right now, you want safety. Hey, listen, and I can't talk about no politicians. It's just, last time I put my hat in the arena and gave my opinion, wow, did they give me a beating?
Beating, by the way. I've seen.
Listen.
Oh, maybe the press.
I'm gonna stay away from politics. I'm gonna stay away from politics and religion. They stole my freedom to speak.
I spent about 30 minutes this morning trying to find the media beating that he was talking about. I didn't find anything concrete, but if I had to guess, he's likely talking about the media reaction after he endorsed Donald Trump. He's also spoke highly of Donald Trump on his show. If you knew the history between Donald Trump and Mike Tyson, you would understand why. When Mike Tyson was going through his sexual assault trial in 1992, Donald Trump was one of the only high-profile people that publicly supported Mike Tyson. Other celebrities, everyone else in the mainstream media, they turned their back on him. During the mid to late 90s, Mike Tyson was viewed as an absolute pariah. No one wanted anything to do with him. The only people who supported him were Donald Trump and later on Vince McMahon when he brought him into the WWF briefly in 1998. So it makes sense why Mike Tyson would have a soft spot for Donald Trump. But you're not going to get that explanation from the mainstream media. No. Why let history get in the way of pushing the agenda? Orange man bad. It doesn't matter that they're friends. Mike Tyson's black. He should hate Donald Trump. In that interview with Greta Van Susteren, Mike Tyson admitted that he's become more conservative as he's gotten older. Now, this is extremely common with most people. Me personally, I was a hell of a lot more liberal when I was younger than I am now at 37 years old. Mike Tyson also claimed that his kids had a lot to do with his change in mentality. I guess he's one of those freaks that doesn't want his children to be taught about Trandan in the first grade. I guess he's a practitioner of exclusion. Mike Tyson doesn't want his kids exposed to transgender Tommy. That is discrimination. Tommy has every right to use the girls' restroom if that's how he chooses to identify. Mike Tyson's daughter needs sensitivity training. There is an old adage in politics, I can't remember it verbatim, but it goes something like, if you're liberal before the age of 30, you're a Democrat. If you're liberal over the age of 30, you're a dumbass. This is one of the reasons the butt brigaders target young people. Have you ever noticed most of the propaganda coming out of woke United Methodist is targeted towards the youth? They're not wasting their time trying to convince grandma that it's okay for peeping Peter to slide his camera under the bathroom stall. They're not trying to convince the 45-year-old professional that it's mythical racism to hire the white PhD from Wharton Business School over the woke you dropout who was majoring in how to destroy a business with social justice and Molotov cocktails. They always target the most vulnerable, and when anyone speaks out against it, they hit them with mythical racism or one of the many phobias. Casey is transphobic. He constantly misgenders birthing persons. That's not true. That's simply not true. I just have a biologist on retainer who helps me confirm gender. My biologist took one look at Leah Thomas, told me he was a fucking man. That is not misgendering, that's confirming gender. They target the youth because they know they're the easiest to convince. Started at the college level, showed you guys yesterday how it's moved to the high school level, also started in elementary and middle school. They play on the fact that most kids are rebellious and are willing to believe the opposite of whatever their parents believe. I know when I was a teenager, I thought my parents were dumb. I didn't think they had a clue. Turns out, I was the dumbass. They're going after these kids younger and younger to try to break the cycle. They need believers who believe past the age of 30. It's a hindrance to the movement when millions of people every year are renouncing their woke faith in their 30s. In order for their agenda to be fully implemented, they need lifelong followers, lifelong believers. The reason most people wake the fuck up in their late 20s or early 30s, they start paying for shit themselves, or they start having children of their own. The woke agenda falls apart once reality sets in. Oh, it looks all glamorizing on paper. Everyone should have equal opportunity. We should all believe in diversity. Companies should be forced to have a racially equitable workforce. Once you put the bullshit into practice, it completely falls apart. Mike Tyson admitting that he is afraid to share his beliefs publicly, that admission is a microcosm of society. You heard him say it. I am afraid of the backlash. I'm afraid of retaliation. That is what they want. When Pastor Jalen Rose speaks at Woke United Methodist, that is exactly what he preaches. Scare people into compliance. Pastor Jalen knows it's damn near impossible to abolish the First Amendment, but they don't need to. There's always more than one way to push your agenda. You don't have to abolish the First Amendment to silence the freedom of speech. You just got to scare people to the point where they're afraid to speak up. Looking at this current landscape, I'd say they're doing a pretty fucking good job of it. But let me know what you think. Mike Tyson denounces his past wokeism and admits to being a conservative, a common sense thinker. He also admits that he is afraid to speak publicly on his beliefs in fear of retaliation. Do you think most athletes, most public figures, do you think they feel the same way, share the same fear? Or are most of these people woke shit fucks who enjoy Don's Lemons? Sound off in the comments below. Make sure to like and subscribe. Click the notification bell to receive all notifications from the channel. Best way to contact me is by email at btlkc84@gmail.com, KC_BTL84 on Twitter. I'll see you guys later.